Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Illumineers Quest podcast, where we talk everything Lorcana, and not just the Illumineers Quest product that they've just announced. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jacob.
And thanks for coming on this journey with us. Boy, it was an exciting week for us.
I bet there was 3 people out there that were like, hey, I recognize that, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure there was a few, but I was absolutely shocked when they announced that. So for anybody out of the know, or that didn't watch the Lorecast, where they announced all the new stuff this week, they announced a new cooperative game, sub-game within the Lorcana realm, and the product is called Illumineers Quest. So we can say we were ahead of the curve there.
I mean, I looked at it, like, me and Zach weren't watching it together, but we kind of were.
Well, we were watching it parallel texting.
Yeah, and we just started texting like, holy cow, like, what just happened?
Holy moly, holy moly, holy moly.
Yeah. It was, and Brian Miller said Illumineers Quest, which was one of the weirdest things ever.
Yeah. It's been a fun week.
I mean, the entire community has been saying Illumineers Quest. It is one of the strangest things I've ever went through.
Maybe we can get a bump off of, maybe we won't. We'll see. But that's a good preamble into what we're talking about this week and next week. This week we're going to go over all the set 4 stuff that they talked about, and all of the card reveals and some of the new stuff that was released as part of the Lorecast. And then next week we're going to talk about all the organized play updates and all the prizing and everything that go along with that. So it should be a fun couple weeks here to dive into all of that sort of stuff. But with that said, I think let's jump into it. We got a ton to talk about because they released a ton of information. Okay. So it'll be fun. Okay, so with that said, questions/comments from listeners. I don't have anything specific aside from what we do every so often, which is look back at the polls on some of our last episodes. And we had a pretty big debate on the last episode, and there's already been a ton of people weigh in on it.
I believe I've seen this one, yeah.
What tier does Madame Medusa belong in?
Yep, I did see this poll. I did not vote in it.
With 71% of the vote currently in A tier.
Okay.
So I pushed for it, but the community says I was right.
That's fine.
We do have 14% in S tier, so there are some people that agree with you. However, we have 14% in C tier as well, and so for the people that voted in C tier, valid opinion. You know, if you feel that way, I think that is true under certain circumstances, but I think overall it's probably a little stronger than that.
It just has to do with what's in its target range, and there's a lot of meta cards in its target.
I really would love to play Belle again this set, but I just can't do it because of Madame Medusa.
Yep, absolutely.
So anyways, yeah, that's kind of the comments. The people, that's not from a person, but the people have spoken and said Madame Medusa is an A tier card, which I think is fair. But anyways.
Do we have a Michael segment?
We do. We have a Michael segment.
Yes, let's do it.
But that's in what's on our mind.
I know, but I'm just saying.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Make sure.
Okay, so card of the week. I don't know whose turn it is. I think it's your turn.
It's probably my turn.
I have one.
Okay, then go for it.
Okay. If you can't guess, you'll pick up on it very quickly. We dumped on Sapphire early on, which I think is. I think it's a tough one with Sapphire because, like, overall, like, on the surface, like, the item stuff does seem kind of gimmicky, but then along comes the Lucky Dime. And I was on the Lucky Dime week 1. The difference I will say is I'm not going to say, like, I pioneered it because I tried, is what I'm saying. Is I tried to get a Lucky Dime deck working. I tried it in both iterations that are currently out there. I tried it with Steel Sapphire and I tried it with Ruby Sapphire, and both of my iterations were terrible. But somebody much smarter than me came along and piloted a much better version of the Ruby Sapphire deck that I've been loving the last couple weeks. And so we have a win-a-box on Sunday, and that's what I'm taking is my Lucky Dime deck. And so that's why Lucky Dime is card of the week.
There you go.
The 7-cost uninkable Sapphire legendary item, which says exert for 2 ink, gain lore equal to a character you have on the board. Pretty powerful if you have, Gaston or even like Maleficent Monstrous Dragon or any of the other like 2 or 3 lore questers. You can get to 6 or 10 lore like really, really quickly and catch people off guard. I did that to your dad actually at League last week, and
Mm-hmm.
he was caught off guard, to say the least.
Yeah,
So-
for sure. For sure.
So anyways, thoughts on Lucky Dime?
No, I mean, I thought it was always an interesting card, you know? I thought at some point it would just be, like, I think everyone was going for, like, the huge plays, like the 5 lore, 6 lore plays that you could do with it that are somewhat obtainable, but, I mean, they're possible. But I thought it was much more consistent to go for just, like, the 3 lore.
Well, and it really chips away at you. The difference is like, I can play a monstrous dragon and deal with your stuff, and then Lucky Dime my dragon on that turn, so I continue to get lore, and then same thing next turn. If they do something to take out the dragon, then great. I just do more removal on their side and do it again. And so it continuously adds pressure where that isn't always necessarily there.
It's a spell book that gets 6 lore in 2 turns.
Potentially, yes.
I mean, which is pretty sick.
Okay, so Lucky Dime. With that said, let's move on to news, what's on our mind, league recap, all of the above, and I kind of spoiled a little bit of it. What's on my mind is the tournament win-a-box that we have on Sunday. I've been making small iterations to the Ruby Sapphire deck I'm going to take and trying to get as ready for that as I can, and making sure that I'm feel strongly, going into that. Had a good experience last time. But wants to actually podium this time, so trying to get into a place where I feel really good.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if the tournament's possible. I'll probably end up going, I assume, because I at least want to practice before we get into the Stitch tournament.
That's what it's all about, truthfully. Like if I end up in the top 2 or whatever and get some packs or win a box or whatever, that's great. But honestly, this is all just practice for the Stitch stuff.
Yep,
completely agree. So. But yeah, so as we alluded to, we do have a crazy stuff that Michael says and does segment for today, and today it is involving Sad Beast this time.
Oh,
so for, again, just a quick recap on Sad Beast, it's the 5-cost inkable steel Beast Tragic Hero card that has the ability, if he has no damage on him at the start of your turn, you may draw an additional card. And so, the way that it's usually handled is when you start your turn, it's draw for turn, draw for beast, and then you kind of just, continue on. However, when Michael plays the card, I feel like 7 times out of 10, so we'll say like 70%-ish, he forgets to draw off a beast. And you're either just a fun league member and you say, dude, draw your beast card too, or you take advantage of the fact that he forgets to draw the card.
Oh, that's such a good one because it happens every game.
Yeah,
every single game.
And to be fair, I'm not going to just throw him under the bus. I will say there are definitely turns where I've forgotten to do that too, but not near as often as he does.
Oh, Michael, we love you, dude.
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't remember who was he playing. Was he playing your brother when he was doing that?
I think he was playing me. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, was it playing you?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew it was one of you guys. But yeah, so it's. I have another one that I thought of that was like my first iteration of crazy stuff that Michael says and does. I don't want to say it now because I want to save it for our next episode. But it's an older one that happened way back when in chapter 2. But it's a really fun one too. So yeah, that's our fun league update for this week. The serious, I guess, league update this week is we got pins and promos, so that was fun.
I mean, I didn't.
You didn't get anything?
I didn't get pins.
I don't know why they only gave out 3 this time.
Yeah, I don't know. Our supply was down on prizes, I think.
The local store used to get 2 league kits because we had enough players to support it, and now we don't, unfortunately, and so I think he only got 1, and so there's not as many, but I still thought there were enough to give out all of the
just
pins,
top 3 got the pins.
I forgot about that, man. That's unfortunate. But you got
my
a
brother
promo,
got
though.
one.
You got a promo though, right?
I got
which promo did you pick?
I got the Jolly Roger.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, good. Yeah. So I mean, first month wrapped up on the league. This is by far the best I've performed, so I feel strongly about that. I think you've had some.
It's the worst I performed.
I think you've had some struggles, unfortunately. Ruby Amethyst is not what it once was. Hey, I'll give you. You've ridden it through the highs, and now you're riding it through the lows. So
no, 100%.
I will give you the benefit of being loyal to the
100%
to the fandom there.
I think I'm gonna try tempo Ruby or Amethyst Emerald Tempo soon.
You did get your Ursulas. You finally finished the Ursula playset.
I did get the Ursula playset, so I think I'll try that at least 1 week, see what happens.
That's making a little bit of a comeback, too. With everything shifting a little bit more aggro, that's made a little bit of a comeback, so that's pretty strong still.
I mean, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. We'll see how it goes.
All right, well, yeah, that's it. That's kind of the league recap. What's on our mind? Hopefully next time we have an episode, next time we can record, we are, spoiler alert, recording the news, or the organized play news right after this because of scheduling. We want to make sure we have one out ahead. But anyways, next time we record, hopefully we have some good news coming from the Winter Box. So with that said, I think it's, without further ado, let's just jump into it, right?
All right,
like we got to get into that. We can talk about this for hours and hours and hours. So again, this was on the Disney Lorecast Twitch channel. They had what they called the first Lorecast, where they announced a bunch of the new upcoming stuff, which mainly focused on Chapter 4, which has been dubbed Ursula's Return.
We're getting to that. That's its own little thing we need to talk about.
We are going to do a lore episode at some point if Jake ever puts all the notes together. I'm throwing you under the bus on the episode, so you're forced into it.
I'm going to do it I need to do it before Ursula's Return for sure. So
we need to do it in like the next 3 weeks.
Okay, I can do
it. Because in the next 3 weeks, then we start getting to the end of the set and talking about tournaments and stuff. So.
100%.
So Ursula's back. She's wreaking havoc, and it's kind of like a battle. Well, a lot of the cards we saw were like very battle-y.
Ursula is the big bad of the first 4 chapters of Lorcana.
We kind of saw that coming.
It was hinted at for a while.
Yeah, we kind of saw it coming with the flood. And a lot of people, hinted at Ursula. And then you had definitely a lot of Ursula stuff at like chapter 2 and going into chapter 3. So yeah, she's the lore behind it. But not only is she the lore behind it, she's got more spicy cards.
Yes,
which we may or may not talk about, but we will get into all the cards. That's what we're going to do a breakdown of everything that they released and everything they talked about. But the first thing I think to talk about on those Ursula spicy cards is that we have true alt art variants now. They considered the Enchanted's like alternate art, which I guess technically they are.
Yeah.
But now we have like actual variants of the given cards. So
yes.
They have like 224 through 204, and it's not of like numbering of the card of the set, and it's not of an Enchanted, it's of alternate versions. And if you look at the cards, we're looking at lorcania.com for those who want to check out all the cards and all the stuff. They do a great job of keeping it all updated. There are like tentacles that are like great, like grasping onto the artwork of the card, versus just like your normal black border.
And the ink color in where like you read the ability is also a little like has a little different coloring to it. It's a little teal. It's a little blue.
Yeah, it's not quite as straightforward as it normally is. It's very like cream normally, but it much more like matches the color of the ink. So like
I think it's supposed to be water, like Ursula.
So the steel one that we've seen is very like rock. And the red one has a little bit of like orangish red back tint to it. So it's very much on that. But it's cool because those cards come in the Illumineers Quest set. So if you are interested in the Illumineers Quest co-op game, that's where you get those cards.
We need to stream playing that.
We will have to, for sure. We will have to, for sure. But yeah, so that's like overarching that we saw is that there's a new like sub variant card type within the realm, and those are like the Ursula variants. I don't know what they're technically called. I'm calling them the Ursula variants because they have like the tentacles.
I think it makes sense. Illumineers Quest variants.
Yeah, Illumineers Quest. We should call them the Illumineers Quest variants. Why not?
Let's do it.
That makes sense. So we need to push that one on. So that was one big take. The second big take is the big property that they announced for the set thus far is Encanto, which I'm excited for. I'm a huge Encanto fan. It's not Big Hero 6, but I understand that Encanto is a massive property and it's relatively new, and get a lot of people behind that. It's got a lot of iconic characters. There's a full suite of family of the Madrigals.
Yep.
So you're not a fan. I can tell on your face, and you don't like Bruno.
I like Encanto. Actually, Bruno's my favorite. Bruno's my favorite character from the movie.
Well, I meant the song, but
I don't have a problem with the song. I don't, personally. I just wish. I don't know. I I have a little bit of a problem that this is like the main new property we're focusing on.
But there's
I
going
wish
to be
there was others.
But I think there will be others because there's usually 2 or 3, and we've seen 15 cards, and there's like 7 of them are the Madrigal family.
Even in the chapter like release overview thing.
That's all they said was
just in content.
Okay, well maybe it is, and if that's the case, I guess that is a little bit of a bummer. But I was super hype about Raya and the Last Dragon in Chapter 2, and we all know how that turned out, that it was a big letdown. And so I would rather have one property and it be a good property and them like do it justice versus having Raya cards that are very underwhelming.
Sure, absolutely.
So yeah, we have a lot of Encanto cards. We have basically I think they released the whole Madrigal family, didn't they? No, there's a few. There's a few members. There's a few that they haven't shown yet.
We're missing a few members.
That they haven't shown yet, but the sisters... Yes. And a couple of the aunts and uncles, and
I don't remember all the names. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll get there.
No, I'm saying of the missing members that we don't have.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I mean, we can look it up, but yeah, off the top of my head, I couldn't.
I was thinking like the little boy, that talks to the animals,
the little
cousin.
cousin.
The animals.
Yeah.
Her grandmother.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and then we didn't see like the casita location.
Oh, yeah.
Abuela's the grandma, obviously. Okay. Bruno and Felix we both got. Luisa we got. Julieta we got. Peppa we did not get. Isabella we got. And then there's a Dolores we got. And then there's Mariano and Antonio. Is Antonio's the small one, I think. Anyways, it's been a couple months since I've watched. And so, yeah, I'm getting this wrong. And so for all the diehard Encanto fans out there, I'm sorry. I am happy it's coming, though. So
I am as well.
With that said, I think let's just jump into it and start going over some of these. The Encanto ones, I wouldn't say are like any like super broken card yet, and so we can kind of go through some of these kind of quick.
I'll go through. I want to go through. Do Luisa first because I think she deserved a better card.
Yeah, Luisa. So Luisa is the strong one, and her subtext is Luisa Madrigal, magically strong one. She's a 4-cost uninkable, 4 strength, 3 willpower. Quests for 1 with Rush. So I will take my take because we hadn't talked about this, but I agree. So she's 4-cost uninkable, so higher cost than Fox and uninkable with the same stat line. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think maybe if it's 3-cost uninkable, but then it's like, what's the point of Rafiki? Because he's a 3-cost uninkable, 3/3 from Chapter 1. Yep. And so it's like, you can either power creep yourself very intentionally or like at least make it inkable then. Like if you're going to keep it at 4, like make it inkable, and then you have the trade-off of do I want to bounce something or do I want to have it cost 1 more.
Yeah, because that's the thing too is like when bounce came out, we're like, okay, so that's a negative. Now it's turned, the bounce is actually a positive.
In a lot of regards. I mean, obviously, if you're trying to create board pressure and your only options are to bounce something, then you have a little bit of a trade-off there.
But I'd say if you're playing it right, it's a positive.
Most of the time, for sure.
So I would think bump it up a cost, give it a willpower, make it inkable.
Make it 4/4 inkable? Like 4/4/4?
5-cost inkable 4/4.
I would say 4-cost inkable 4/4. Or maybe just 4-cost inkable 4/3. And then you're at least inkable and you don't bounce.
Then I think you'd have to make it reckless, if that's the case.
Maybe that's...
Which doesn't make... it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree. How you fix it, I don't necessarily know, but I 100% agree that she definitely got the short end of the stick there.
Because then you just play Maui for 5 next turn and does her job way better.
That's a good point, too. So... Anyways,
and plus the character of Luisa deserved a better card.
Yeah, Luisa is one of my favorites from the movie too. But yeah, so starting with Luisa there, I guess we might as well jump into Maribel, being the star of the movie. Her subtext is Gift of the Family. She's a 5-cost uninkable, 3 strength, 5 willpower. Quests for 2. She has support, and then she's kind of a Snow White-ish character where. Whenever this character quests, your other Madrigal characters get +1 lore this turn. And so, very in the realm of like creating a Madrigal synergy, which I like, the same realm as the 7 Dwarves. She's an Amber too, by the way.
Mm-hmm. I think, or did we say Amethyst for Luisa?
I'm not sure. I mean, we talked about Rafiki and...
Yeah.
So if we didn't, we definitely picked up on it. But I think Maribel's fine. Again, uninkable. I think it's a little bit of an uphill battle.
I think she'll get a legendary Floodborn. I'm calling it.
Very possible, especially if Encanto's the only...
new property.
Then there has to be Anne a Madrigal enchanted, I would think. But,
Yep.
Okay, moving on to her mom, Julieta Madrigal, the excellent cook, which again is very in line with the movie. Her stat line is 3 cost inkable, 1 strength, 4 willpower, quests for 1, and has the ability when you play this character, you may remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. If you remove damage this way, you may draw a card. So a little bit in the line of a Rapunzel. You only get 1 card instead of a potential up to 3 with Rapunzel, but does cost 1 less. So you have, some trade-offs there, but...
I mean, she's uncommon, too, which is really... She's not a legendary like Rapunzel.
Yeah, I think
it's
this
much
one...
more attainable.
I think this one could definitely see some play. There are times where you're only drawing 1 card or maybe 2 cards off of Rapunzel. And if that's the case, then you're definitely not losing near as much value as the potential 3 versus 1. So I like Julieta a lot. I think it definitely plays into the aggro realm of, those like Amber Amethyst decks that don't have a ton of card draw. That can really help that out early on in the game.
I mean, yeah, and it looks like with the Illumineers Quest product, you're going to maybe need a player that's a supporter. So
that's a good point, too.
This card could be handy in that realm.
Yep. Good point. Okay, moving on to Felix Madrigal, the fun-loving family man. Pretty vanilla one here. He's a 3 cost uninkable in Amber as well. He's got 2 strength, 4 willpower, and quests for 2. That's no ability. So that
quest for 3 with Maribel.
Yeah. So I think from that perspective, it does add a little bit of value if you are kind of go down the Madrigal route. But other than that, pretty vanilla. So. Quick one there to move on from. Do we have any other?
There's
Amber
one more.
ones? No, I know there's a couple
Okay.
more. I was trying to see if there's another Amber one. We got 2 more actually. Yeah. So then we'll leave Bruno for last. So we got Dolores Madrigal, the 4 cost inkable and Amethyst, 3 strength, 3 willpower, quests for 2. And her ability is when you play this character, if an opponent has an exerted character in play, you may draw a card. So again, more kind of funky. Amethyst card draw. However, I will say in the 4 cost slot, there are definitely better options.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think she's inkable, so that's a plus.
Quests for 2, also a plus.
She's basically essentially just a higher statted Maleficent.
Yeah.
Basically, because more than likely you're going to have an opponent card exerted.
Ideally, I guess that is a little bit of a downside. So maybe this, yeah. I think it all plays out right, but you just obviously have to be very timing based when you play it and make sure that you want to grab that ability. But
I could see this card getting play, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's an okay card. I think you'll still have the rabbit be more prevalent, even though it is uninkable. But maybe you go 2 rabbits to Dolores. That's way too early of a take, but. I think she's okay. And then moving on to the last member of the Madrigal family, we got Bruno out of the shadows. 5 costs uninkable, 4 strength, 5 willpower, and Amethyst as well. He quests for 1, and his ability is when you play this character, chosen character gains. When this character is banished in a challenge, you may return this card to your hand this turn. So I think that's a good card and ability. If he was inkable, I could really see this getting some steam. I don't know. I think this is maybe like a 2 of and very late game play. Like you're not trying to, bring back. I don't know. Maybe you are trying to bring back a snake or something early on in the game. But I think if you're playing this like turns 7, 8, 9, and you're challenging in with like a Maui or I don't know, anything else that's like in that realm of like Ruby, Amethyst, stronger cards.
Well, I've been seeing talk with Rabbit and Goat. With this.
Yeah, Goat makes a lot of sense too. But again, I think Goat is usually a later game play, and so the point I'm trying to make is like he's like 5 costs, but you're definitely not playing him turn 5. You're definitely playing him later in the game. I think it's okay. I like the ability a ton. I just wish he was inkable. I guess is the way I could leave that one.
And so, just overall, it looks like this Madrigal deck is Amber Amethyst.
For sure.
What it seems.
For sure.
So.
Again, there's a few more left to come. But given that they're both or all of them thus far are in Amber and Amethyst, I think that it's safe to say that the majority of them, if not all, will stick to those inks. Okay, so we've got a few other cards here to talk about that are outside of the Madrigal family. And so we'll just go down the list here of what's left and kind of leave some of the more exciting ones for last. Daisy Duck, we have a 1/3, 1 cost inkable stat line in Amber Vanilla.
Which is huge. Huge.
Amber has a ton of 2/2s. You've got the Queen, you've got Stitch, new dog, you've got
There's a
Kita.
lot.
There's a bunch of 2/2s. There's no 1/3, and 1/3s have seen a lot of shine. So I like that a lot. It is a vanilla card, but I think it's very well deserved. So not a ton to say there, but I like it. Is there anything else we can talk about in Amber for now? That wraps up Amber. Okay. So let's move on.
Next.
Yeah, let's move on to Ana, Braving the Storm, a 2-cost Inkable and Sapphire. 1 strength, 4 willpower, quests for 1, and her ability says if you have another hero character in play, this character gets +1 lore this turn. So 2 things to talk about there. There's now a hero, like what are those called? Like keywords. Yes, thank you. I couldn't for the life of me think of it.
There has been hero from the beginning, but this has to do with it.
Yes, and this set is bringing in a lot of heroes, I guess is the point I was trying to make, is that there are a lot of heroes now coming in to set 3. So I like it. I think, again, 1/4 stat line. I don't know if it's like super playable, but I know that the Sapphire, like 1/2 costs are pretty underwhelming. 4 strength in the 2-cost slot is very strong.
If you're playing, so I'm assuming that Ruby Sapphire will stick around for a while. That's a really good Teeth Inhibitions play.
Yeah, and not only that, I would imagine, again, if there are other strong hero cards out there, that even like as a late game play, you can do that. And then if it is an early game play, on turn 3, you play another hero, and then it's her turn to quest, and so she quests for 2. And so I don't think it's like a completely busted card, but I could definitely see this getting some play.
It's really decent, honestly.
Yeah, I could definitely see it getting some play. Moving on to the other Sapphire card, we have Hans, very themed there, who happens to be in Anna's room in the art, which is a little creepy. But,
a little creepy.
The Noble Scoundrel, he's a 3-cost Inkable, 3 strength, 2 willpower, and Sapphire, as mentioned as well. He quests for 2, and his Royal Schemes ability says, whenever you play this character, if a princess or queen character is in play, gain 1 lore. So he's not a hero, of course.
Mm-hmm. He's a villain prince, like you said.
But if you play Anna turn 2 and him turn 3, then you get a lore off of him. And so you have a little bit more passive ways of getting lore in Sapphire. I think he's probably a little less playable, but I don't think he's the worst card ever.
No, for sure. I think there will be some very fun theme decks coming out soon.
We're definitely getting to that point. Like there's getting to be enough cards in a lot of these properties where we can get there.
It'll be a good time. I think it's gonna be fun.
All right, now we're getting on to the last Sapphire card, which we didn't talk about because it was one of the last ones that was revealed. But are you hyped about this one? I have a feeling you're super excited.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
So bring back the Chapter 1 Pascal hype, because Rapunzel Appreciative Artist is a 5-cost Inkable Sapphire card with 3 strength, 5 willpower, quests for 3. So insane questing, and she has an ability that says, while you have a character named Pascal in play, this character gains ward. So there's some sick synergies there with your buddy Pascal.
I just wish that they both gained ward. Each card, Pascal and this card, gained ward.
That would be nuts.
That's what I wish. But it's super fun.
Pascal with evasive, Rapunzel with ward, keeping each other alive, and some. I mean, Amethyst Sapphire has not been a very strong color combo, but if you throw in a couple more synergies like that, maybe it sees some play.
And I think we're getting a Sapphire Pascal, so I think that's why they did it.
I would imagine, I'd imagine that there's another Pascal that comes. I would be shocked if they leave it just at the Chapter 1 one, but we'll see. I like that one a lot. The first thing I look at now is, speaking of Madame Medusa earlier on in the episode, the 3 strength is a little underwhelming because it can get removed, and so if you don't have a Pascal in play, then it's a little there, but 5 cost 3 lore is pretty strong. So. Okay, so that rounds out Sapphire. So we've got one more or two. We're getting to the good stuff now. I will say, like the really, really good stuff. So there's only 1 steel card, so I guess we can jump to steel. The broom deck loving people out there,
I'm so happy for you guys.
I'm happy. I'm not even a broom deck guy, but I really want to try this now. There's so many broom deck tools, so we're jumping ahead. 5-cost Inkable Mickey Mouse Playful Sorcerer in steel. He's one of the cards we've seen that has gotten the Ursula variant. So there's two of them technically. There's one numbered 187 and there's one numbered 225 for the different variants. But he's a 3 strength, 4 willpower, quests for 2. He is Floodborn, so he shifts for 3. He has resist +1, so that alone stat line is pretty strong.
Nice.
Getting in there.
Quest for 2. You said quest
for 2, yeah. So shifting in on third turn, questing for 2 is pretty strong. But then he has resist +1, so that's nutty. And then it says his sweep away ability is when you play this character, deal damage to chosen character equal to the number of broom characters you have in play. So he has some really strong early game kind of aggression with the shift 3 quest 2 resist +1, and then he's got later game abilities where if you pull him later into the game and have a couple brooms in play, then you can do that and deal some damage. And so I really like this one. I want to build a broom deck now. Your brother's been playing the Amethyst Steel with the Ch4 wheel. It's very clear that the broom deck is Amethyst Steel now. I don't think those share a lot of crossovers with other decks, and so this could very well be my Chapter 4 fun bring to league deck.
Yep.
Would be the broom deck with the Chapter 3 location. I can't. Do you remember what's the broom location?
Is it Sorcerer's Palace?
Sorcerer's Tower? Or maybe it's Queen's Castle, Sorcerer's Tower. I think that's it. But you get +1 lore for everybody being there, or for any card there, and then brooms can move there for free. It's the Sorcerer's Tower, which is a 3-cost inkable, and it says characters get +1 lore while being here, and your magic broom characters may move there for free. So you've got Mickey Mouse Sorcerer from Chapter 4 now, or Playful Sorcerer. You've got Mickey Mouse Sorcerer from Chapter 1 and Amethyst. You've got the broom card from Chapter 1 and Amethyst. You've got the 3 broom cards and Steel from Chapter 2. So there's a bunch of brooms now. There's a bunch of Mickeys that deal with the brooms. I really like that. I think it could be a ton of fun.
I mean, and there's another card. You want to jump into it now?
Yeah. So we're sticking with Steel.
No, the other broom card.
Is there another broom card here?
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Yen Sid.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking. Sorry. Yes, you're right. We might as well jump into that. So Yen Sid, the powerful sorcerer, is an Amethyst legendary from that has been revealed. Oh, and he's the first legendary we're talking about. He's the lowest cost legendary we've had thus far. He's a 2-cost inkable legendary, which is crazy. 1 strength, 3 willpower, quests for 1. But again, his synergies really lie within the broom realm, which is when you play this character, if you have a character named Magic Broom in play, you may draw a card. So more fun card draw in Amethyst. And his second ability, Arcane Study, when you have 2 or more broom characters in play, this character gets +2 lore. So he's a 2-cost, but he's very much a later game play because you want to have a couple brooms in play. You want to play him to draw a card and then have that 3 lore off of him. So and then you move him to the tower and you get 4 lore off of him. That's pretty crazy.
Can I just say, stepping out of the game for a minute, Yen Sid in the game is incredible. I wanted him so bad. If you don't know, his name is Disney spelled backwards.
Yeah.
Yen Sid is such a good character. I'm so happy.
This is the card that's been released thus far. We only have one of them, but this is another Ursula variant card.
You're getting a legendary guaranteed in a Illumineers Quest.
We haven't talked about that yet, but we definitely need to wrap up with that and talk about Illumineers Quest a little bit.
Which we will. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that Yen Sid's again perfect synergies within that broom deck, and a guaranteed legendary if you buy the Illumineers Quest product.
Yep.
We may or may not have had any say in that. Getting guaranteed legendaries. No. So yeah, staying with Steel now. Going back to that, we have I think your favorite card of the set.
Favorite card that has been revealed so far. Yes.
6-cost inkable Steel Ariel. So in the Steel Song realm with the new Ariel, and her subtext is Sonic Warrior, 3 strength, 8 willpower, bonkers.
Shift for
4, bonkers. Quest for 2, pretty strong. And then her amplified voice ability says whenever you play a song, you may pay 2 ink to deal 3 damage to chosen character.
And she's not a legendary. She's super rare.
Super rare.
Super rare card.
She's continuing the Giant Tink, Cinderella Stout-Hearted, very strong
No, as soon as I saw this, I said this is the new Heroic Outlaw Tink Stout-Hearted. This is the
like
new...
the super rare of steel that's like very, very strong.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I really like it. I mean, obviously the shift 4 is really strong. Like on turn 3, you play Ariel Spectacular Singer from Amber, and then turn 4, you shift her on. And then you have like a really strong Ariel on board. You can't, if you're shifting her turn 4 and spending all your ink, you can't use her ability when you play a song that turn. But it obviously gives you a much stronger chance that she lives through that turn and not being removed, because on turn 4 you've got another turn before your Lady Tremaines, your Madame Medusas, all that stuff starts to come out. Obviously you have to be worried about Maui, but with the 8 willpower, Maui himself is not taking her out. So this like one-ups Robin Hood pretty strong. Robin Hood's still going to be around for sure. Like he's still a strong character as well, but Ariel Sonic Warrior kind of does take his crown, I think, for the time being.
I'm like, is this a character location? Like this thing is beefy.
Really beefy. Really beefy. I like the art too. Like I'm usually not a massive fan. Like I'm just such a purist. I usually, my favorite arts are usually like the storyborn characters.
Oh, see, mine are. I'm opposite of you.
Yeah. So I mean, I know that the Mickey Mouse Playful Sorcerer is a Floodborn, but it looks very storyborn. Like it's very traditional Mickey from Fantasia with the hat and the colors
Sorcerer's
and the waves
Apprentice.
and everything. And so I really like that one. But this one in particular, I really, really love.
No, I've been one of the people that have wanted a Floodborn Ariel since the beginning of the game. I think she's deserved one, and this this does her justice. This is to me an early S tier. I'm gonna call it.
I'm very, very, very likely for sure.
I'm gonna call it. I mean, it's gonna be ridiculous in play.
Yep. Okay, so that wraps up Steel, which moves us on to Ruby, which I think is all we have left now. But that gets to my 2 favorite characters that were revealed.
There you go.
So I'm going to start with the smaller of the 2.
But maybe the better card of the 2?
No. If we're talking early S tier, we'll get into it. So Goofy, Super Goof, is a Ruby new Rush character. Great art. I love the superhero Goof. 4 cost inkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower with Rush, as mentioned. He quests for 1, but his ability... Super Peanut powers, which there's peanuts in the card as well, so it's pretty funny. Whenever this character challenges another character, gain 2 lore. So it's not banish, but it's challenge. So again, like if you're talking closing out a game, doesn't matter if they're banishing him or not, doesn't matter if he lives or not. You just come in, you swing in, you get your 2 lore, and you carry on. I think that's really strong. You can catch people off guard, and they have to be careful about it. Early game questing with that potential becomes a lot more, I guess, chaotic or troublesome, because maybe it's like you have, I'm trying to think of like a 1 cost character that might be in play. Maybe you have like a 1/3 in play of your flavor, whatever it be, Minnie Mouse or whoever, and you've got a 3 strength character on the board, and so you're like, I'm fine, I will quest because I don't have anything to worry about. Well, then you have Goof to worry about, because he can come in and probably mop you up, but also get the 2 lore off of it. So he gets some board control, gets some lore off of it as well. And so I think this one can be, has the potential to be really, really, really good.
No, I mean, like, if you think of, like, probably the most played 2 willpower card, I think, like, Maleficent from Chapter 1. Like...
Yeah, even singing turn 3.
Yeah, and she's
turn 4.
So she's played turn 3, Rush turn 4.
Usually sings Friends on the Other Side turn 4, so you rush in.
She's exerted.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that's a really strong point. I mean, even if he alone can't banish a character, the fact that you can go and do 2 damage to the potential 3 needed, and then have 1 more to finish him off, plus you get the 2 lore. I mean, there's a lot of positives in that trading for you.
I don't know about you, but I thought of a Chapter 2 card, Selfless Protector, when I read this.
Oh yeah.
Because so he could keep challenging and not get damaged, which I just thought was I don't think it'll see any play. I just thought it was a
that is a fun one. And throw in LeFou and Shield of Virtue, and you got some fun questing or lore gaining challenging, which would be fun. Yeah. So. I like Goofy, Super Goof a lot. He's a rare card, so it will be a little bit on the harder side to get, but he's not a legendary. So I really like that one a lot, but he's second place to not on purpose, but the last card that we're going to talk about today, Mulan Elite Archer. She's also a Ruby card, 6 cost, inkable, shifts for 5, which is this the first time we've seen a 1-drop shift?
So, Basil does the same thing.
Okay.
Basil drops 1.
So he doesn't see any play, so this is the first card that sees play then.
We're going to have a whole discussion about this.
This is going to have so much play. Okay, so Elite Archer, Mulan Elite Archer, 2 strength, 6 willpower, quests for 2, shifts for 5, as mentioned. First ability says when you play this character...
You say this is a legendary, by the way.
Yes, yes. When you play this character, if you used shift to play her, she gets +3 strength this turn. So, given that you're the second ability... I'll just jump into it. So, second ability is triple shot. That says, during your turn, when this character deals damage to another character in a challenge, deal the same amount of damage to up to 2 chosen characters. 2 chosen characters. So you could potentially do 5 damage to 3 characters. Name another card that can do 5 damage to 3 characters.
No, I completely agree. I just think you might be jumping the gun on this one specifically.
No shot. No shot.
No triple shot?
No single shot. Like, her triple shot is busted. The one question I have, and honestly, this is like a rulings thing that I don't know the answer to, and I'm genuinely asking. If, like, she challenge, so, like, if you shift her, and so she's got 5 strength, if she challenges somebody with 3 health, does she do 3 damage, or does she do 5 damage? And they only take the 3 damage.
Deal the same amount of damage
done to chosen character in a challenge. So, does that character only take 3 of the 5, or does she do 5, but since they only have 3 health, they die? Because that changes it a little bit.
I think she does 5. I think she does 5 to everybody.
Okay, that's my initial thought too, but I don't know that for certain. And so if somebody knows the answer to that, I would love to have the answer, because it changes.
Because you're technically doing 5. You're doing 5 attack.
I think
to
you're
a
right.
Character, even though it's overkill.
Yes, that's my initial thought as well. But I don't know that. Again, I don't know that for certain. But again, if it doesn't do 5, that changes it a little bit, because then you rush into a small character, you can only do 2 or 3 to everybody else. But honestly, like the first thing that pops in my mind is this is the ultimate Maui like deterrent, because if you rush in with Maui and he kills somebody, it's like, normally it's like, okay, this is really annoying. I have to take out Maui. He can't even quest, but he's such a big threat on the board to take everything else out that you have to deal with it. Now she rushes in and takes Maui out, or shifts in, takes Maui out, and then wipes out the rest of your board because she's dealt 5 damage to Maui.
So you don't think she does 5? She challenges someone else?
No, I think she could. I'm just saying, in general, I think this is the biggest Maui deterrent, because if you have a Mulan in play unexerted, you don't want to rush in Maui, because if you rush in Maui and take something else out, you shift on Mulan Elite Archer, you take out Maui, and then you deal that 5 damage to somebody else, to 2 other characters too. So you wipe it. In my eyes, this is a very potential one-sided Be Prepared. Again, we've talked about this a bunch. How many cards that are played have over 5 willpower? Very, very few.
No, I totally get it. And obviously the first ability is not the only way you can get her more strength. There's Crab and Maui's Fishhook out there that could both,
the Queen, if you're running a Mufasa deck.
You could get her, because Hook gives you 3.
Crab gives you 3.
Challenger +3. So you get her to 8. You could go nuts.
Yeah, I think that this is a one-sided Be Prepared. Like, if you're talking turn 4, 5, 6 in the game, there's a very good potential that your opponent only has 3 or 4 cards on the board. And so if they've only got 3 or 4 cards on the board, and you take out 3 of them, that's a very, very, very one-sided exchange.
There's one. I think there's one. I agree with you. I think there's one thing that makes or breaks this.
Okay.
She needs a good shift target.
I agree. I think that there has to be more Mulan characters come. I think there's 2 in Ruby currently.
There's 2 in Ruby, yes. A 4-cost uninkable and a 5-cost inkable.
So there's 5 overall currently, or there's 4 overall currently. 2 of them are in Amber, which again, if we're talking a Mufasa deck with this, that would be really strong.
The Mulan Floodborn does not work with the Mufasa deck.
No, it does. It definitely does not. But the royal, or the princess one, which gives everybody support, definitely does, because you have the ability to shift onto her, or you have the ability to have her there to pump up your other Mulan if you want to do that. So The 4-cost Uninkable Rush character in Ruby, you're right, is definitely underwhelming. The 5-cost Imperial Soldier is okay, but you're right. I think we need a more regular, normal shift target 1 or 2 cost Mulan.
Like a 2-cost 1/4 would be really nice.
Yeah, I would be totally down for that. So you're right. I think that there's a potential downside, but just like all these others, we know that like there's going to be shift targets coming.
Yeah, it just depends on if they're viable, because the other ones have not been super viable as of yet.
Yeah, if it only ends up being a Ruby like Amber, Mufasa deck kind of thing, where you get to take out your Be Prepareds and run like all characters at that point, I think it could be really, really cool. This is also a legendary. This is also one of the Ursula variants that we've seen from the Illumineers Quest product. It is like a legendary, as I said, and it's guaranteed in that, and so that's a really cool thing as well. That's my favorite card unveiled thus far from the new playable cards that we've seen. Yeah, I'm really stoked. I think there's a lot. I really loved the way that they did this time. I loved that they not only showed us the stuff from the products themselves, but I love that they gave us a ton of stuff with the the Madrigal family and all these other ones. They released the Trove. The one thing I will say about the Trove this time, they have like the dividers are not the ink types, they're the rarity types. So you have like a common divider and uncommon, which is like nobody does it like that. Like everybody does it by inks, right? And so
I mean, I don't divide. I divide
you don't do
by
it. Yes,
chapter.
you just throw them in a box and call it good. But I personally divide them like in order, like 1 through 204, and you have your inks and you use those to divide the inks. And so that's like a super nitpicky thing. But I really like the overall kind of theming thus far. I like the challenging battle type aspect of it. I like the heroes subtext that's coming in a lot, or the keyword that's coming in a lot. So yeah, my thoughts overall thus far are super. Oh, we have 1 card left, but it's very underwhelming, which is why I forgot about it.
We have 2 cards left.
Triton's Trident. Not talk about that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean just in case, but
yep.
So 2-cost Inkable, Triton's Trident, and Amethyst. It's an item that says banish this item, chosen character gets +1 strength this turn for each card in hand. I think everybody is very upset that Triton's Trident has come in and been kind of underwhelming.
We're gonna get. Have you seen the theories? There's been multiple
that there will be more.
That there will be a Floodborn.
Oh, Trident, like you shift the item?
This is a Floodborn Trident.
Oh, that would be nuts. I have not seen that theory yet, but that would be crazy if that's the case. And then I will take it back.
I think because the one that's shown in the Illumineer Quest is like bejeweled and it's got like all this different stuff going on.
Okay.
So I think there is a Floodborn Trident.
That would be nuts.
Or at least a stronger version of the Trident.
Yeah.
This is not the one. I don't think it's the exact one.
Right. Okay. So final thoughts on the set and everything that you've seen thus far on Ursula's return.
I mean, so there was a story trailer that was released. It's like a minute 30, and as soon, like it starts out with Bruno and stuff, and like as soon as I like, oh my gosh, like this is getting me so unbelievably hyped. Like I know we said like at like the Lorecast that we hope it's like a Nintendo Direct. At the very beginning, it gave me Nintendo Direct vibes.
Yep.
I could not have enjoyed the Lorecast more. I thought it was.
They did a fantastic job, for sure.
It was a fantastic job. I mean, I'm so hyped. Like that day, I had to go to the dentist, and literally all I thought about was Chapter 4, Ursula's Return. I mean, I think this is the first time when in the like chapter announcement release, there's so many playable cards.
Yeah, again, some of it's definitely up for interpretation at this point, but I think Mulan for sure is extremely playable. Ariel, Sonic Warrior is very playable. Goofy is very playable. Yep. Mickey Mouse, Playful Sorcerer, I think is going to be a fun playable for the Broom deck. Yensid, same, and I think some of the Madrigals could definitely be played. So, yeah, I mean, I think that we're definitely getting to a lot of fun stuff to use as well.
Absolutely. I mean, man, and the art has been kicked up to 11, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the art on all these, especially Mulan.
Yeah, the Mulan might be one of my favorite arts there too. So
it reminds like I don't know it kind of takes even though they're two different rarities, to me it's kind of taking the place of like a heroic outlaw kind of card. Like it just kind of fits. Like even though they're two different things, it's like okay, here's like the Warrior Ruby card. It's like it's back.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. So I'm definitely on the positive side overall. Okay, so we're definitely at time here, but we have to talk about the Illumineers Quest stuff again for a couple minutes. So it's a co-op game, which is super fun. It's even more so for me because you have your brother and your dad to play with all the time, and I think you guys do relatively frequently at your house. I don't. My wife does not like the competitive side of it. Like we've played before, but we're obviously very into this nonstop, and so it's hard for those games to stay competitive. Mm-hmm. But to be able to like have something to share that with, like the Lorcana realm with her with, is going to be a lot of fun because I know she'll like enjoy that a ton, and being able to play together cooperatively as a team I think will be really fun for her and for myself. So I really much enjoy that like new kind of play strategy aspect of this.
And they said you can add like as many players as long as you have decks.
Yeah, and we've got plenty of decks with everything else we do.
So could we do like a 5v Illumineers Quest?
I don't see why not. I think they said like 2 to 4.
Okay.
But I think again if you're playing on like the super hard difficulty, like why not just throw in more people and see how it goes? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm like totally down for that.
We don't know like all the exact rules yet. We just know that you're fighting together.
It extends the story of Lorcana and the Illumineers Quest.
I can't believe we did that.
To do that, so crazy. So it's I think it'll be a really fun one if you're listening to the podcast and you like Lorcana, but you're more on like the casual fun, like enjoy the game, playing with your family and friends. Like this will definitely be something to check out.
And stay tuned to the podcast because we will get you ready for the story. I promise.
Yes, we're going to do that in the next couple weeks. And then lastly, if you are on the competitive side, you have the alt art legendary variants guaranteed in the box, which Jake teased, and that's like a massive bang. Like would have been getting one anyways, maybe be getting 2 now.
So ridiculous. And then I don't think it comes with any packs. That's the one thing. I don't think it comes with any.
I don't think so. I think it has preset decks that it has coming there as well.
That's one thing to say. It has 2 45 card decks.
Yeah, so you can use those cards to use as part of the story of that product, of the Illumineers Quest. But yeah, regardless, I think it's going to be fantastic.
And there's even a special prize included once you beat Ursula. And we don't know what that is yet.
It already has been leaked, and they said it would probably get spoiled early on. I didn't expect it to get spoiled 15 minutes after the Lorecast ended. So it definitely is out there. So if you want to be super, super surprised, then just don't go out searching Illumineers Quest prize because you'll find it. They said mute Illumineers Quest. Definitely don't do that.
I was like, no.
But yeah, it's super fun. This is probably the most excited I've been for a set release since set 1.
I agree. This has been super hype.
Yeah,
it's been awesome.
It's been great. So, okay, I'm done. Any final thoughts?
No, man. I mean, they're like, I don't know about you, but after that Lorecast, I was so overwhelmed.
Ton of stuff. Ton of fun stuff.
It was like, which we're going to record an episode about the other half of what's
the organized play stuff will be next week if you're listening to this on release week.
So I mean it's been a blast so far, dude.
Yeah, so again, stick with us. We're going to get some more of the story before the Ursula's return comes out, and the Illumineers Quest product continues the story to get everybody caught up. We're going to talk about the organized play announcements and the dates and all the stuff that you need to know for that. We're going to talk about store championships and new rulings that come out and everything along with that. So stick with us next couple weeks because it's going to be a wild ride these next couple weeks.
It's going to be awesome.
All right, everyone. As always, thanks for listening and thanks for the support, and we will catch you next time.
Bye, guys.